Hi guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yvonne Princess Shabangu. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And voila, you're part of the graceful, the beautiful, and the wonderful family. Oh guys, I haven't done a book review in weeks because your girl has been behind. I still haven't finished Don't Drop the Mic by Pastor Tilly Jakes, and I'm looking forward to do that review, but I managed because my heart was stolen to finish Therefore I Rose by Amanda Dambuza, my current fave. Guys, I'm so obsessed. You too, Amanda gave me something, I don't know, but really I have newly found obsession and love for Amanda Dambuza. Before, I just liked her Instagram post, there wasn't a valuable like to it, but after having read Therefore I Rose, I'm convinced that I need to buy Baked in Pain so that I'm able to relate more with her. So yeah, today we're going to review Therefore I Rose by Amanda Dambuza, who you can find on social media platforms. She's on Instagram, Amanda Dambuza. She's on YouTube, whereby she has mentorship sessions, and she's got a show that's called Vastly Search, where she shares all her walks of life, her experiences, and all the uncomfortable conversations you can think of. And also she has a website, www.amandadambuza.co.za. I'm not sure if I said that one properly, but she does have a website. Check her out. So today we are reviewing her book Therefore I Rose. Guys, this is a power-packed book. This is a book that will teach you everything that you need to know about life. Yes, a lot of people think of it like, oh no, she's an entrepreneur, you're going to find only entrepreneur tips here. No, ma'am, you're gonna find ways to live a fulfilled life. Everything you can possibly think of. And I love that. So I'm so grateful for Mpumi for introducing me to Amanda Dambuza, because I never knew Amanda until I started following Mpumi and stuff like that, and she started having a relationship with Mpumi, and I'm like, who is this lady? Let me follow her. And then we met her at the Wisdom and Wellness function. It was so beautiful. And we're meeting her again for a live review on the 30th of April. So I'm not going to do a full intense review because, guys, I need you guys to buy this book. You can only purchase this book from Amanda Dambuza's website. It goes for $280, as well as her other books. You'll be able, when you go to a website, you'll be able to see the pricing. So yes, guys, this is the book. If you're not reading anything or you're not inspired to read, this is the book. And it's not a big book, so you can finish it in 2 weeks. In a couple of weeks, you're done. You can finish it in no time. So guys, I don't know, how should I go about this? Okay, there's about 25 chapters, right? So I'm not going to go over through each chapter. I'm just going to summarize what I took from this book, and then I'm going to share with you some of my favorite quotes and some of my favorite paragraphs of the book. That's how I'm going to go about it, since we're very expectant of the event happening, the luncheon happening with her on the 30th of April. Tickets are sold out, sorry guys, and it's such an exclusive event. But maybe I'm going to vlog, maybe not, and then I'll be able to share with you guys what we took from her from a personal experience and personal perspective, what she felt like when writing this book. Because you can see I left a lot of flags because I have a lot of questions for Amanda Dambuza, how did she do it? I want her to sit there and look at me and be able to explain a lot of things that she speaks of in this book, right? So without further ado, hey, cool, right? So I'm gonna start with the first chapter. I'm gonna start with the first chapter, right? So in chapter 1, the title of, oh, this is chapter 3 already. Okay, guys, please bear with me, even as I'm still working hard. So chapter 1 speaks of still working hard. That's the title of the chapter. So basically, many people do ask her, do you still work hard and stuff like that? And in this chapter, Amanda Dambuza introduces us to her life. She introduces us to the fact that from day one, she's always had an insane work ethic. From day one, in times of uni, in times of high school, she's always had a great work ethic, or rather, she's always been the most hardworking person in the room, and that has secured bags for her. So she does encourage us to work so hard, but also she does speak on balance. It is important to balance. When you work hard, are you seeing results? And if you're not seeing results, results, you need to redesign. And also when you're working hard, do you get yourself rest? Because one thing also I love about Amanda Dambuza, when she goes on vacation, right? When she works. But when she goes on vacation or she goes away to rest, she goes hard, guys. If you see her stories, her Instagram posts when she's on vacation, you just want to work hard and you just want to be able to own your time, because that's also one of the things she emphasizes in this book, to say the best one main that she knew for sure from a very young age, from the time she was in uni and all that, she knew that she wanted to own her time. She didn't want to she didn't want to always answer to somebody. She wanted to do with her time whatever she pleased. But she understood the concept of saying that there will be a season where somebody will own your time and you have to work hard. You have to learn as much as you can. You have to network. That's one of the things she speaks of. And then after you've done the raw work, the hard work, then will you be able to own your time, right? So she speaks of that, and then also she goes into, okay, now I'm no longer doing chapter by chapter. I figured, guys, if I go chapter by chapter, it's going to be a long video, right? But I want to keep it precise and short. So she also speaks on inner work. She tells us that it's very hard to actually excel or succeed in anything if you haven't done the inner work. It's always important understanding self, and that's what I'm getting from her. I'm not verbatim, like I'm not taking from the book verbatim. So she says that it's very, very important that you do the inner work. It's important to understand yourself, and it is important to understand your triggers. And I remember in one of her videos, her Instagram lives, she did mention that you never really get over your triggers. You never fully get over trauma, and no one can prepare you for triggers, but you need to be able to understand things that trigger you and to understand how you respond to those things, right? And then she goes on to say it's very important to seek healing, especially from our childhood traumas. She went through a very painful childhood. I think I would never, for whatever reason, no matter how upset I am, ever wish that kind of upbringing for anyone. But I love how she carries her story. She carries her trauma with grace. I love it because there's a part where she says, I didn't ask God why. I didn't question God. I didn't even ask God to say, God, remove me from the situation. Why me? And stuff like that. And it even takes me back to the saying that says, if not you, then who? Why must it be the girl next door? Why can it not be you? Then she says constantly, when she was going through these pains, these traumas, and these abuses, she would always say, God, what are you teaching me? What do you want me to learn in this season? Where do you want us to go? What do you want me to achieve out of this? And she's like, constantly, God would lead her and direct her. And she's like, also one of the things that she held onto, it was hope. She's like, she didn't have any other thing but hope. And this hope kept her going. But also, another thing she had her work ethic. She understood that she didn't have plan B. And there's one of my favorite things she says in the book. She mentions it a couple of times. She says you have to treat each opportunity you get as though you would never get another. Don't be so sure that you would get a second chance. Like this book, guys, it's so jam-packed. It's filled with so much wisdom. It's filled with so much knowledge. And I love that also she speaks on holistic health. She just doesn't focus on money, but she focuses on the fact that you should be well spiritually, you should be well emotionally, mentally, financially. And I love, guys, one day I want Amanda Dambuza to come on Employment Wednesday when the time is right. God will make it happen. But she speaks also on how she chooses her employees. She says she's big on energies. She says she can look at your CV, your CV can be great, but if she's sitting with you in a room and she's conversating with you and she doesn't align with you, she won't employ you. She's big on energies. She's big on values. She's big on giving back to the community. She's big on expanding and growing and stuff. She's big on elevation, right? And then she also says one thing about her. She says, I pay my workers well. She's like, I don't play games. I know I love money, and hence I give money as well, where it's due, right? She says, I pay my workers well. I give my workers time, she even says that she doesn't require workers to be at work. If the worker's child is not feeling well, it shouldn't be a question of can I. They need to be at home looking after their family. Like, she's like, she invests fully and with intention in everything that she does, you know. And I'm like, because I'm passionate about employment, right? You find that sometimes workers do not extend the same compassion, you know. From her book and from how she does things and from what I know about her, she's very compassionate about her workers. She's very deliberate in wanting her workers to grow, in wanting her workers to elevate, in wanting her workers to become better. She even says, when I give my workers a salary, I have an understanding that they also need to achieve their dreams. They also need to grow their empires, you know. So you can imagine having an employer that is so thoughtful in that manner, that even when they give you a salary, they're thinking of the fact that, you know what, I'm giving her this 20K, but is this 20K going to pay her child's fees? Is it going to pay her rent? Is it going to buy her groceries? If it's not going to do so, then I need to bump it up. So, I mean, I guess we all need an employer like Amanda Dambuza. So, yeah. And then she speaks a lot about also taking care of our mental health. She speaks about her experience in the corporate space. You know, she speaks also about a very common thing that happens within the workspaces, especially in the corporate industry and commercials and stuff like that. There by Santin, you know, the bullying, the constant bullying in the corporate spaces, you know. She speaks of it, and she also gives tips on how this can be handled. She gives pointers on how you can deal with bullies and how you can address bullies and stuff like that. And also she speaks a lot about being an entrepreneur, because I mean, she is one of the award-winning entrepreneurs via Uyandiswa. Even like, guys, you know, I believe in divine orchestration. Even the name of a business, guys. Do you understand the magnitude, like the meaning behind Uyandiswa, like expansion? And when you look at her life, she does mention that she has lost some monies when she was in business. But when you look at the things that she's achieved, the things that she's done for society and community through Uyandiswa lives, like it embodies what it is. You know, it expands. And I love the fact also that she empowers women. She empowers small businesses and stuff like that. She has a business incubation. You guys should check it out. I'm not sure if it has time limits or how you go about it, but she incubates a lot of small businesses, and she opens doors. You know, there's something so powerful that she said. I think that's why I also resonate with her. She said that because I've had people open doors for me, right? I also do extend the same grace to other people. When I'm in higher positions, when I'm in higher places, and I can think of other people that can do the very same thing, I recommend those people. I open doors for them. And then also, I love what she says. A lot of people would say, oh no, people are where they are because they got connections. And yes, it is the case sometimes, because we live in a world where there's a lot of corruption. But there's something so powerful that she says. She says, you can open the door for me, but what I do in there has nothing to do with you opening the door for me. So no matter how much we're given opportunities, it's always up to us to keep them. You know, you can plug me, give me a job and all of that. How I get promoted there, how I elevate, or how I grow with that company is entirely up to me, because you are not going to show up for me. You're not going to be going with work to me. You're not going to be going to work with me and stuff like that. So yeah, and she preaches a lot of giving, guys. I think it's very important that we understand that giving is a major part of us. Like, it's a very big part of us. And half the time we always question, why should I give? Why should I do this? And all of that. But it is important that you give. And another chat that she also speaks of, you know, that she goes on about, is that you can't give what you don't have. You can't, there's even a saying that says you can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to constantly work on yourself, so that when you show up as your best version. She even says in one of the interviews that she's been to, a lot of people say, oh no, how come we've never known you like the past 4 years? Amanda Dambuza has been around, I think her business like 8 years old. We are this for 8 years, plus minus there. And then a lot of people would ask, how come we've never known you? You're such a great person. And she is an amazing person. But she says, in those years, I was working on self. I needed to be so sure about myself that when I come forth, no one can convince me otherwise. And she also speaks on knowing self. Like I said, inner work. It's very important that you work on your internal self. It's very important that you know who you are, so that no one convinces you otherwise. So that even when you show up to the world, no one can break you, or no one can mess around with your self-esteem, or no one can mess around with your confidence, because you've worked on yourself and you are conscious of who you are. And I love that also she speaks on, this is a very holistic book. She speaks on health, like in terms of exercising, in terms of making time to actually exercise, time to rest as well. She also speaks on self-care, how important it is to rest, you know. And I always say this as well as a person. When I'm fatigued, I can't function. Whatever work I produce when I'm fatigued is actually mediocre. So I figured out it's very important for me to sleep enough. It's very important for me to rest enough. It's important for me to do the things that I love, things that bring me joy, and then I'll be able to excel better in my work, in my studies, in everything that I do. So it's always important also to find out as a person what triggers you, what keeps you inspired, what motivates you. And if you're searching and you don't know what keeps you inspired, find new hobbies, try new things, go into nature, travel within your means, and do the things that make you happy. And if you don't know the things that make you happy, try out things, try out new things and stuff like that, right? So, and also she speaks on relationships. I love her conversation surrounding relationship and surrounding, I'm just going to intertwine it, surrounding forgiveness. She says that forgiveness is very imperative, but don't let anyone bully you into forgiveness. You do it when you're ready. And she also says you always, and I think I've spoken about it, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you to move on, for you not to be heavy-hearted, for you to be able to grow, for you to be able to expand, for you to even, because that's the thing, when you hoard pain, when you hoard the things that people have done to you, you block your own blessings. You block radiating love, radiating kindness, because you're hoarding all that pain. And one thing we don't know is that pain follows you. A lot of people think they can hide the pain, they can hide the negative energy, but other people can vibrate through your energy. They can be able to say, there's something that's not right. So in as much as forgiveness is for you, but take your time. Do not forgive rushingly so, you know, because when you forgive rushing because, oh no, I'm Christian, I'm supposed to forgive, it becomes problematic, because chances are you haven't dealt with that. And you see that manifesting in how you relate with other people, in how you do things and all of that. You see it via triggers. So it's always important that when you decide to forgive circumstances, seasons, episodes, people, and stuff like that, make sure that you've sat down, you've dealt with it, you've felt it. It's important to feel. It's important to cry. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to, I don't know, release, however way you need to do it, because it's important that those emotions are let out. You know, it's important that you allow yourself to feel, but don't stay there. Once you've felt, once you've grieved and all of that, move away, elevate, you know. It's very important to elevate. And then also she speaks on how it's important to understand when a relationship doesn't serve you. When you continue to pursue relationships that don't serve you, you are doing a disservice to self. You are subjecting yourself to continuous stress, to continuous toxicity, because when you pursue something that doesn't serve you anymore, you're constantly going to be unfulfilled. You're constantly going to be dissatisfied because people are not coming on board. So it's always very important that when a relationship doesn't serve you, you run. You know, some people run. She says, I run. I don't even explain. I just run, right? But I believe in the concept of, hey, you know, things are not going well. This is where we stop, you know, because I always feel bad when people just decide to run from me. I'm like, hey, boo, why are we not conversating about this? Why are we not sitting down and trying to see if we can correct it? And then also she says, your gut feeling. Your gut feeling will never lie. A lot of people call it gut feeling, but I call it the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit in you will always direct you. It will always give you direction. It will always tell you things about people. It will always show you who people are. And you will see this, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comment sections. In the comment section, many other times when something bad was going to happen, you knew. When it happens, you're just like, it's confirmation. Many other times we related with the wrong people. Looking at it from Umcholo perspective, many other times we knew that the boys we loved are not for us. They're not good for us. But we still went ahead. And when we broke up with those people, yes, it was painful. But when you look down the line, you're like, actually, on so many occasions, my gut feeling, or rather the Holy Spirit, spoke to me about this individual. I just decided not to listen. So it's very, very important that you listen to your gut feeling. And that's another thing. When you've done inner work, you hear the Holy Spirit so clearly, guys. So clear that nothing can convince you otherwise. No other voice can disrupt you. But if your internal self If your heart is not worked on, your internal self is not worked on, you will constantly hear many voices that will confuse you, and those voices will suppress your gut feeling. It will suppress the right voice. So that is why it's important that you go on and do your inner work. It's very important. Do your inner work, and you will be able to know where you are supposed to be at the right time, and with the right people, having the right conversations. And then also she says, know your why. It is very important in whatever you do, be it in business, be it in relationships, be it in friendships, be it in your career. Have a why. What is your why? What are you hoping to achieve? And also, not just knowing your why, but also, is your why of value? Is your why good enough? Okay, not good enough. That's for a lack of a better word, right? Just know, again, evaluate your why. It's very important for you to evaluate your why, because sometimes our whys are very, very selfish. And I'm not saying people shouldn't be, you can be selfish. Sometimes it's important to put yourself before everyone else, but it's always important to also ask yourself why. Why do I want to start this business? Why do I want to start this? Why am I supposed to do ABCD? Know your why. And when you know your why, you will constantly be inspired. She says she knew that she wanted to be an entrepreneur. She knew that the employment rate in South Africa was like low. She knew she wanted to be the change. She knew that she wanted to employ more people. She knew that she wanted to empower women. She knew that she wanted to change the corporate space. She knew that she wanted to expand her business. She knew all of those things. She knew her why, and her why drove her. So if you don't have a why, the drive is low. But when you know your why, and when you're patient, and when you're focused, then you are driven. You will be driven. If you know that the reason why I'm doing this is because the end goal is this, you don't focus on the end goal anymore. You focus on the process, and you allow process. Also, that's another important thing I got from the book. She says it's very important that you know your end goal, right? Know that actually I want to be an award-winning artist, or I want to be an award-winning YouTuber, right? No, that's your why. But also, knowing your why, do not focus so much on the end goal. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to go through process. Allow yourself to be in every moment. And that's another thing. She says, life is not linear. No matter how much we try run away from it, life will have detours. There will be delays, there will be losses and stuff like that. But also, everything is in your hand. What do you do with your losses? What do you do with your achievements? What do you do with the time of weakness? Because you will have seasons in your life whereby things are not going well. What do you do? Do you choose to grieve the entire time, or do you choose to take out lessons? Do you choose to take out steps to elevate? Do you choose to do better? Because half the time we lay in our problems, we sleep in our problems. But we need to understand that just because you're going through a season of pain, a season of grief, a season of stagnance, it doesn't mean that's where you should stay. You need to focus on the goal. It's like right now, let's say I sit down, like, I want to be an admitted attorney, but as a CA, my life has become routine. I know I need to go to work and then do agreements, deal, and come back home and do my assignments for PLT and stuff like that. It's become routine. It's easy for me to feel like my life is stagnant. But also, I'm driven because I know that I want to be an admitted attorney. And I'm driven because I know that there's things that I need to learn along the process. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, do I really have to read this? I know what a notice of intention to defend looks like. But it's important that I read it because I'm learning. It's important to allow process to take place. That's very, very, very important, guys. And let me give you guys paragraphs that I really enjoyed from this book, right? Okay, I've spoken about that. Oh, this is my favorite paragraph from this book, right? She says, I hate playing games unless it is a game of 30 seconds. So do not waste people's time. Be clear about your intentions and what you want. If you ask for someone's attention, clearly say what it is for and what you would like as an outcome. People are busy, and the fact that they even spare you an hour of their precious time is absolute grace. Guys, treasure people's time. It's grace. Do not pretend to be their friend or try to brown nose. That reduces your social currency. The value I place on my time is crystal clear. I do not go around wasting my time and loitering around because I think in money terms. Like lawyers, we sell time. Every hour costs a specific amount of money, and every minute I spend on anything has to have a real return for me. I seek people that can intellectually challenge me and make me think about different perspectives. I am an energy being, and when the small voice is complaining, I excuse myself, get up and go. Put value to your time and your life will change in an epic manner. This was my favorite. I think it's my top 1 paragraphs. There are other paragraphs that are amazing and that are power packed, but this was the best. And I think maybe it's in the season that I'm in my life currently. I'm in a very, 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 I don't want to say rocky season, but I'm in a season where I'm evaluating what's important, who's important. And I'm not reshuffling, I'm pruning. Actually, yes, that's the word. I'm pruning things that are not important, relationships that don't serve me anymore. And when I read this paragraph, I felt like, so it's not a me problem. When there's an inner voice that's saying, you're not supposed to be in this room, move away. Move away. God has given us that grace to be able to tell when we're at the wrong places with the wrong people. So listen to that voice. I enjoyed this book, guys, so much. It is important that if you think I said much, guys, maybe I said this portion. So you can imagine that's not even half, So it's very important that you guys keep yourself acquainted. Like, buy books, read books. These are the kind of books you want to read because these books are life-changing. My life will never be the same. I will never look at relationships the same way. I will never look at work ethic the same way. I'm working on becoming better, doing better. I now understand the essence of my time. If you're not serving me or I'm not serving you, I'm not wasting my time. You know, that kind of thing. So now I know the essentials. I now know what it means to live up to values that make you. And I now know that you don't need to compromise, And just before I close off this video, there's something so beautiful about Amanda Dambuza. She says she was living her best life, not expecting to get married, not expecting to have children. In her head, probably the rich aunt. She just had a beautiful car, having a beautiful job, living her best life. And guess what? She's happily married. She's got beautiful and amazing kids. And when it happened, she's like, I allowed the process to happen. So also sometimes, don't let your traumas decide who you become. Don't let your traumas decide your vision and your goals, because you are not your traumas. You are not the abuse that happened in your life. You are not the bad things that happened in your life. You are you. You are God's favorite kid. You are God's loved. You are God's most cherished piece. Like, you're the best thing God has ever created, without wasting any more of your time, because time is precious. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, do not forget to comment, and don't forget to be light, don't forget to be kindness, and do not forget to pray for another person. I will catch you in another video. God bless you.